When you think of Singapore, you probably picture the gleaming skyline, spotless streets, that world-famous airport, and maybe a plate of chili crab. On Instagram, it looks like a dream, modern, safe, and almost too perfect. But Singapore isn't just a city, it's a carefully engineered product, polished, marketed, and sold to the world like an Apple device. Beautiful, smooth, and locked down tighter than you might think. Some call it a utopia. Others call it Asia's most expensive theme park, where every ride works, but you can't step off the track. Chewing gum, banned. Littering, big fine. Protesting without permission, good luck. It's the opposite of cities like Bangkok or Ho Chi Minh, where chaos is part of the charm. In Singapore, unpredictability has been eliminated by design. Some love it, others find it creepy. Even money plays by strange rules here. You can score a Michelin-starred chicken rice for under $5, yet pay New York prices for a coffee. And while it's proudly multicultural, the way it manages race and identity is something you'd never see in most Western democracies. Impressive to some, unsettling to others. So, is Singapore the world's most efficient paradise, or a beautiful bubble where freedom quietly takes a backseat? In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on its so-called dark side, to see what really lies beneath the shine. Let's jump right in. Number 1, everything feels controlled. Because it is. Singapore is often called a nanny state, and it wears that badge with pride. There are rules for everything. No chewing gum, no eating on the train. Littering, that's a fine. Spitting, another fine. Protesting in public? You'd better have a permit and stand in the right corner of the park designed for that. At first, it may feel like a dystopia in disguise. Surveillance cameras are everywhere, and police don't have to do much, because everyone's already following the rules. It can feel sterile to some travelers used to chaotic, unpredictable energy in other Asian countries. But here's the twist. It works. Streets are spotless. Crime is nearly non-existent. You can walk home at 3 a.m. and feel safer than you would at 3 p.m. in some major cities. The trains run like clockwork. The tap water is drinkable, and the entire country feels like it's been engineered for peace of mind. In a world full of chaos, a little control can be a blessing. Just ask the 16.5 million tourists who visited Singapore in 2024 alone. They're not coming for the rebellion. They're coming for the reliability. Number 2, it's one of the most expensive cities in the world, but still worth every cent. Let's be honest. Singapore isn't cheap. A regular cup of coffee from a Western cafe can cost 6 Singapore dollars. Want to rent a small apartment in the city? Be prepared to part with thousands a month. According to the Economist Intelligence Unit, Singapore has consistently ranked as one of the world's most expensive cities to live in. Tourists might get sticker shock when they realize their dinner bill is almost what they'd pay back home in New York or London. Even something as simple as taking a taxi from Changi Airport to downtown could make your wallet feel a little lighter. But before you panic, take a deep breath and head to a hawker center. This is where Singapore shows its split personality. Michelin-starred chicken rice for under $5. A feast of local dishes. Laksa, satay, nasi lemak for the price of one sad burger elsewhere. Public transport is efficient, air-conditioned, and affordable. Healthcare? Ranked among the best globally, and it doesn't cost a fortune. Want clean air, safe roads, and zero corruption? Well, that's the premium you're paying for. And let's not forget, tourists can enjoy the luxury of Singapore without paying rent. You can book an affordable hostel, eat like royalty in a hawker center, and still take a selfie with the Marina Bay Sands in the background. Number 3, it's multicultural, but not without its fault lines. Singapore proudly calls itself a multiracial, multicultural society. Chinese, Malays, Indians, and Eurasians all live side by side. Visit during Deepavali, Chinese New Year, or Hari Raya, and you'll see the city come alive with color and celebration. It's a beautiful example of coexistence, at least on the surface. But some critics argue that harmony is maintained more by policy than by natural integration. The government uses quotas to ensure racial mixing in housing estates. Race is listed on every citizen's identity card. Political representation is structured to ensure diversity. but it also means racial topics are tightly managed. There's an official narrative that Singapore is a model of racial unity, and to be fair, it mostly works. There are no race riots, no ethnic enclaves boiling with tension, but that doesn't mean everything is perfect. Conversations around race can feel carefully controlled, and sensitive topics are often avoided in public discourse. Still, in comparison to many countries grappling with racism and division, Singapore has created a functioning, peaceful, multicultural society. Walk through Little India, Chinatown, and Kampong Glam, and you'll see a city that genuinely celebrates its diversity, even if it still has work to do under the surface. Number 4, freedom of expression? Not quite, but you won't miss it much. Let's not sugarcoat it. Singapore is not a paradise for activists or political dissidents. Independent media is limited. Public protests are restricted, and criticism of the government can come with legal consequences. The ruling party has been in power since the country's independence in 1965, and it's not exactly open to competition. To some, this sounds suffocating. Where's the democratic debate? Where's the messy, fiery political theater? But then you look around. Trains are spotless. Corruption is nearly non-existent. Schools are world-class. The streets are safe. And the government delivers on promises faster than most Western democracies can draft a proposal. For most Singaporeans, the trade-off is clear. Less political noise, more day-to-day stability. There's a famous quote attributed to Singapore's founding Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. "I'm not interested in your opinion, I'm interested in your performance." And to be fair, Singapore has performed. Tourists don't come to Singapore to join a protest. They come to enjoy the skyline, shop in Orchard Road, and maybe sneak into a rooftop bar. You might not even notice the restrictions, unless you go looking for them. And finally, number 5, locals can seem cold, but give them time. Singaporeans are famously efficient. They walk fast, talk fast, and don't have time for nonsense. For a tourist, this can feel a bit cold. Don't expect big smiles or small talk at the convenience store. People are polite, but not overly friendly. You might mistake this for aloofness. But here's the thing. Underneath that no-nonsense exterior, there's warmth. Singaporeans are just practical. They mind their business, but they also value kindness. Ask someone for help with directions, and they'll go out of their way to assist. Join a local meetup group or take a community class, and you'll find people who are open, curious, and genuinely welcoming. And then there's the humor. Singaporeans have some of the sharpest wit around, filled with local slang like la, lay, and aya. Get to know them, and you'll find a community that's both savvy and sincere. Friendship in Singapore isn't always instant, but it lasts. Locals won't fake a smile just to be nice, but they'll show up when it counts. So what's the conclusion? Singapore is not perfect, but it works. Singapore is not a fantasy land. It's real, with real issues and real contradictions. It's clean but strict, expensive but efficient, diverse but delicately managed. And yes, it's controlled, but not in a way that crushes the soul. In fact, for many, that very control is what makes Singapore feel safe, stable, and livable. There are things that might shock a first-time tourist: the prices, the silence on the train, the almost obsessive neatness. But there are also things that will leave a lasting impression. The warmth of the hawker center auntie who remembers your order, the seamless efficiency of daily life, the quiet beauty of a country that doesn't need to shout to prove its worth. So yes, Singapore has a dark side. Everywhere does. But it also has a brilliance that shines through all the more clearly because of how well it's managed. If you're willing to look past the surface, you'll find that Singapore isn't just a clean city with rules. It's a country that works, sometimes too well. And maybe that's the real secret they don't want you to know. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with this video? Tell us what you think by leaving your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos.